Hi everybody, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and we're looking at a new moon today in the cardinal Earth sign of Capricorn, and it is occurring on January 2nd, 2022 at 1:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 12 degrees 20 minutes of Capricorn. Let's take a look at the forecast. New moon in Capricorn, Sunday, January 2, turns your attention to the evaluation of the established structures and commitments in your life, as the moon conjunct the sun in Capricorn, trine to Uranus in Taurus, inclines you to view change as improvement rather than a threat. But Saturn in Aquarius square to Uranus creates an underlying current of inner resistance or external challenge to the very thing most needed. Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign which rules the 10th house of career, authority, mastery, and public reputation, and its ruling planet is Saturn. On a societal level, Capricorn represents the officials, laws, military, and programs of the government. Mars in Sagittarius sextile to Saturn and quincunx to Uranus could be activating people to demand accountability and better support from the government, while Venus retrograde, Pluto conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, and Mercury in Aquarius trine to the North Node in Gemini bring a reality check and investigation into the use or misuse of authority and power. Both hope and uncertainty mix over choices and the future, as Jupiter in Pisces squares the North Node. Mercury will retrograde on January 14th and return to Capricorn, joining Venus retrograde, slowing progress. Use this new moon and the retrogrades of this month to determine future goals, release regrets and stories of past failures, watch for signs of confirmation, and prepare for the work of change. Let's take a look at what's going on in the sky. The first thing that really jumps out at me is Mars, actually, a bit more so than even all this Capricorn energy. We've had a couple of shifts that you might be feeling. Number one is today we've got Mercury in Aquarius, coming out of Capricorn, moving into Aquarius. We have Jupiter recently left Aquarius, entered Pisces. So we have two planets here just at the beginning stages of new signs, and that can always be a little disorienting, like when you walk off a boat after being on the water, or you step off an elevator. So that feeling of something has shifted is there, but since we're still early degrees on both of these, it doesn't feel natural yet, or there's no clear determination yet as to what to do with that energy, because we're just starting out. But this can bring an uplift of hope, as Jupiter is no longer sitting in an analytical air sign and has moved into a more intuitive water sign. So we kind of get out of the head and into spirit here with a slightly different way of looking at progress and the future and growth. We shift from being analytical to being spiritual, and that may change your view of the future. The other thing going on is that square I mentioned to the North Node in Gemini, and the dualistic nature of that mutable air sign of Gemini gives multiple options. Should I do this? Should I do that? And then Pisces energy, its ruler is Neptune, and there can be a lot of inspiration, a lot of imagination brought into all of that, but a lack of clarity and focus. There's a lot of scattering with these two mutable signs squaring off to each other. And in terms of fate, future, destiny, all might not be what it appears to be right now, and whatever you are wanting to manifest, you may have to kind of let go and let God a little bit in order for your vision to become reality. Or what you receive right now may not be what you think is ideal or perfect. However, it may actually be what is best for you in terms of lessons and growth. So there's a little bit of odd energy in all of that, where you have to kind of walk a tightrope between what you are wanting to determine for yourself versus what the universe might have in mind for you as being better for you. One expression or affirmation I like to use in any situation where I'm not sure, or where I'm being given something but perhaps I'm not sure if it's what I want, I simply say this or something better. Or if I'm looking to manifest something, I'll say this or something better. And another good affirmation when you're attempting to manifest is to put the little disclaimer, for the highest good. Because it could be that whatever it is that you are wanting to manifest in your life might not be for your highest good. So if you put that little tag at the end, for the highest good, you may actually get something that's better that you can't even imagine at the present moment. This square has been lingering for quite a while and will continue, and I feel like on a personal level, you'd have to look at your own natal chart and see where's Saturn transiting, where is Uranus transiting, and where do you feel that tension that you want something new, but you also don't want to let go of what you have. So that on a personal level has more to do with the houses where those planets are transiting in your own natal chart. On a world level, things are going through the pressure of change, and society as a whole, the needs of the people have to be addressed potentially in a different way, and the structure of government that supports people or is literally a representation of the people has to change as well. We have some of that coming up through the Capricorn energy that does look at government structure, whereas Aquarius energy is looking at society and the future. So we're in the season. We're in the season of Capricorn and Aquarius, where we are looking at structures and looking at society as a whole. This new moon, the desire for a new beginning, it coincides with a new year, and this trine here to the planet of change. However, we have to remember that Venus is retrograde, Mercury will be going retrograde, and anything you start this week coming up ahead, you're going to be going into Mercury retrograde right before we get to the full moon. So you might not see the completion that usually comes about at a full moon. Usually we start something at a new moon and then things come to a head, or the whatever it is that you're working on is going to come to a peak at the full moon 2 weeks later. And we're going to have that amidst Mercury and Venus retrograde. It may be best that before you go for a goal or begin something new, that you really do work at what you truly desire, figure out what you really want, which is what Venus calls us to do, is to look at pleasure, desire, what feels familiar or comfortable, what we really want. And also to consider that you may have to rework your plans, or there may be delays, or there may be other people's will and determination that you're coming up against, because that authority energy of Capricorn is very strong, and all the cardinal signs have a desire to be right. They want to be right. They want to be the bosses. They want to lead and rule and do things right. If you go about doing things right now, I don't know if you're going to reach your goals in the manner in which you expect or get the desired result that you might be expecting if you start on a bad foundation. So look at your foundations, look at your beliefs, look at even though we don't have anything moving in Cancer right now, Capricorn rules the 10th, Cancer is opposite, and within every sign is the shadow of the other sign, or the pull to the opposite side of the chart. And within Cancer and the 4th house of home, family, psychological foundations, that's your beliefs and what makes up what you project out there into the world. So I would get back to your essentials and determine what is most important to you. And then if you have past failures behind you that are possibly going to affect any new progress that you're looking to make, you have to address that before you move forward. Mars is quite busy with Saturn, with some separating or fading aspects to Neptune and to Chiron in Aries, Neptune in Pisces, as well as Uranus in Taurus, and call to action, seeking to do something that you feel is constructive. There could be a lot of opinionated energy floating around. Everybody thinks they know how to make something better, or they think their way is the right way, and wanting to motivate others to follow them and join their team, particularly while Mars is in Sagittarius. If we can only get enough people to hear our point of view and our story and want to follow us and support us and have the same zeal that we have for whatever it is that we are wanting to advocate for or push for. So on some level, there's a lot of good in here. On other levels, I think some of this may burn out or not stick because we don't have the full support right now in the month ahead of Mercury and Venus. As we move into February, I feel like more things begin to move forward in a more dynamic way, but that's next month, and we'll look at that then. In the meantime, do be cautious and realize that you might get some people over on your side. Later, they may be deserters, or maybe they turn against you. It may not all go exactly to plan. And a lot of what goes on right now may be posturing and bluffing and pretending and projection of images, and not the reality that things will be in the future. Life's a game right now is what Mars in Sagittarius is saying. And it's like playing any other game, playing Risk or Monopoly or whatever. There's going to be some wins, some losses. Preparation is really key if you're going to step up to another level with the Capricorn energy. And if you are not really prepared to go all in and maintain the daily discipline to something, then you're better off waiting. Wait out the retrogrades. If you begin something now and you create a chart by natalizing an event, like launching a business or getting married, you're going to have those two retrograde planets in there that will affect communication and will affect you achieving your desires or being happy for the long term. So it is probably best to simply work on yourself in terms of preparation and discipline and elimination of your own blocks and limitations and negative beliefs. Look at the structure, look at the foundation before you move forward and actually start building upon it. Let's take a look at the Sabian symbol. We round up from 12 degrees 20 minutes to 13 degrees. A fire worshiper meditates on the ultimate realities of existence. Keynote: the subjective quest for ultimates beyond the interplay of life and death processes. Beyond cultural enjoyment and the passion for accumulation of often unusable data of sense knowledge stands the willful and determined adventure in consciousness of the occultist, the yogi, the mystic. The mystery of fire has always captured man's imagination because it is the mystery of all transformations wrapped in the enigma of death. In times when collective, perhaps total, death could be in store for mankind, the process of subjective meditation is fascinating an ever greater number of people. Now, this was written quite a while ago, but I would say times are even more dire when we consider things like global warming, pandemic. There's a lot going on. We are in some tense times, and people may be focused more upon death we have a Venus-Pluto conjunction going on right now, and that can be seeking that ultimate. Pluto intensifies everything it touches. It rules Scorpio, and Scorpio rules the 8th house, and one of the associations there is death and merging of boundaries, sharing of assets. Let's go on. This is the third symbol in the 57th sequence. It brings us to a stage beyond life itself. Are we ready to take this step, which the masters of yoga claim to have taken, to experience death and return to the same body? Are we ready to demonstrate man's will to transcendence? If we look at the retrogrades going on with Venus and then Mercury, and we have Pluto involved in all of that, there are things perhaps foundationally in us that we have to lay to rest before we can move forward toward our goals. So perhaps transcendence, transformation, definitely Pluto brings transformation, crisis, upheaval, intensity for sure, issues of power or lack of power, and that will all be activated as we go through this new moon in Capricorn. And tomorrow that moon is going to move forward and be hitting Venus, Pluto, and then Mercury. So we have actually a kind of a quiet day if we consider that the moon is really just pinging a planet of change right here, and there may be some excitement for the feeling of, oh, new moon, new beginnings, new ideas, new things. But then the reality of all of that and what it means, and possibly the implosions that could be occurring due to Pluto being activated tomorrow. Tomorrow may be the more intense new moon day, and day after tomorrow we'll be looking more toward the Aquarius energy, and I think that we will stabilize a little bit. So don't be overeager today. Be mindful tomorrow and really consider things very deeply before you sever any ties in terms of commitments in relationship or business, because it may be very hard to get them back. Be careful about burning your bridges. Watch that the fire there of Mars and Sagittarius does not have you biting off more than you can chew. And watch also for impatience with other people and on the road in travel, transportation. We have Sagittarius, which rules the 9th house, and travel, communication. There's a tendency here to be rather direct, blunt, and overextend or do things impulsively. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you again at the full moon.